the former head of Mossad helped to manipulate Donald Trump into this war. Literally, he was zoomed into the Situation Room, gave him a bunch of fake intelligence, and Donald Trump believed it, and we invaded Iran. Things like, oh, it'll be easy, we'll get regime change right away. Iran cannot close the Strait of Hormuz. Nothing but lies. Now Anna's gonna tell us about how they're taking over, that same guy, taking over American companies and infiltrating the US defense systems through them. Oh, how lovely. Now, of course, you won't see this in mainstream media because they're the great protectors of Israel. So find out the truth here.
Cenk, this is a story that we know about simply due to the incredible investigative reporting carried out by independent journalist Gen X Girl. She writes about this in Substack, and it has to do with David Barnea, who was the former head of Mossad, and you're right, the person who helped lie us into a disastrous war against Iran. Now, apparently, a month after leaving Mossad, he ends up becoming the head of a private defense contractor based here in the United States. As Gen X Girl 1994 writes in her Substack, on June 2nd, 2026, David Barnea completed his term as Israel's Mossad director. 1 month later, on August 3rd, 2026, he was appointed global president and chairman of Ondas Defense Limited, the defense division of Nasdaq-listed U.S. firm Ondas Inc. Now, just to give you a sense of the individuals involved in this private defense contractor, Ondas used to be called Full Spectrum, okay? Full Spectrum's co-founder and current CTO is Israeli citizen Menashe Shahar, who served in Israel's defense force for 8 years doing military communications work. He later worked for firms like Nortel and WorldCom, and if you're unfamiliar with WorldCom, it was charged in 2002 for massive accounting fraud involving the improper capitalization of operating expenses and other manipulations. By the way, more on securities fraud and all of that comes up in this story. So let's take a look at this graphic because it shows you the subsidiaries involved with Ondas Inc. And as you can see, the subsidiaries pictured in this graphic were acquired between 2023 and 2026. It includes Aerobotics Limited. That acquisition was completed in January of 2023. It has to do with autonomous drone systems and the Optimus platform. Iron Dome, which was completed in March of 2023 via Aerobotics. Like, there are all these Israeli-based firms, private contractors in Israel that have been acquired by Ondas Inc, which is a US-based military contractor or defense contractor, which the former head of Mossad is now the head of.
Yeah, picture this, it's 1 a.m, you tell yourself just one more scroll through social media, and suddenly you're spiraling over the latest political dumpster fire. That spiral doesn't just exhaust your mind, it actually spikes your internal body temperature. And when your body stays hot, you can never hit that deep restorative sleep. So the fix, it's not a meditation app, it's your bed temperature. Enter ChiliPad 2.0. It's a water-based mattress topper that gives you total climate control from 55 to 115 degrees. No new mattress, no hassle, it fits right on top, and water is the game changer. A fan just stirs hot air around. ChiliPad uses actively chilled water to pull heat away from your body like a heat exchanger. The new 2.0 has a quieter dock, a washable cover, and a remote that senses when you climb in and fires up your sleep schedule automatically. Sharing the bed? Dual zones let each side pick their own temperature. No subscription, no hidden fees, 2-year warranty, made right here in the USA. Visit www.sleep.me/TYT to get up to $255 off your ChiliPad 2.0 with code TYT. That's www.sleep.me/TYT. Free shipping, free returns, and a 30-night trial. The headlines will still be there in the morning. You might as well wake up ready for them. Guys, they have been planning this for years. The takeover of the company started in 2023. So they had a sense that they were losing support among Americans for a while now. And then it really heats up in 2025 when Israel becomes really unpopular. Because what they're planning to do is another robbery for 10 more years. So they say, oh, we're transitioning out of getting aid from America. Transitioning is doing a heavy lifting for, I want 10 more years of unconditional aid from you guys. So almost everyone in media saying that they're transitioning out is lying on purpose so they can get another decade of tens of billions of dollars from us, which they don't deserve and have no rights to at all. We shouldn't give them a single dollar. Now, on top of that, years ago, they started planting these companies here inside the U.S. And you see all these people who were involved in it, who were involved in fraud earlier.
That's like the Chosen Group. The Chosen Group is an early investor into Ondas. And that's relevant because Chosen is an Israeli group that had been involved in multi-party civil lawsuits and federal litigation in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of New York, where plaintiffs allege securities fraud, civil racketeering, RICO claims involving Chosen Israel Group and its linked firms and associated managers.
Because people willing to do fraud is not the bug, it's the feature. That's exactly what they need. Someone who's going to serve Israel's interests no matter what boundaries have to be crossed, morality, legal or otherwise. And so then, you know what? Why beat around the bush? Why not get the former head of Mossad, their spy agency, to buy an American company and then to infiltrate the US military through all these laws that they're attempting to pass, Section 219 and the others. And meanwhile, let's get a lot of American contracts, right? So that we're getting paid either way by the sucker Americans because we've totally bought their politicians. We've legally bribed them and all their politicians funnel the money to us. And now we're gonna get your military money that you normally apportion to us, and we want it for 10 more years. We're gonna, whenever we start a war or a genocide, we're gonna come crying to mommy, you're gonna give us more. We're gonna infiltrate your military through technology and data sharing that you cannot undo. And we're gonna infiltrate US companies, theoretical US companies, to execute that robbery. So, and then when you complain, we'll go, what? They are American companies run by Israeli head of Mossad, Israeli executives, Israeli companies who were committed fraud earlier. But it is an American company and you are anti-Semitic if you complain. So they're gonna rob us blind in every imaginable way while our media goes, I don't see it.
And understand this is happening with the backdrop of our sailors and service members clearly being neglected on these carriers that have been deployed in the Middle East to fight this war against Iran on behalf of Israel, right? So our soldiers get neglected. You should see the terrible conditions they're currently living in, while all this money gets shelled out from US taxpayers to these private defense contractors, some of which are obviously Israeli owned, Israeli run. The whole system is so deeply corrupt, and consider the fact that we had been spending close to $1 trillion a year on the National Defense Authorization Act, essentially funding the Pentagon. That number has now shot up to $1.5 trillion. That money's not going to making our soldiers' lives better, or our service members' lives better, or our sailors' lives better. It's not going toward improving the military equipment or the carriers that these service members are deployed on. It's just the whole thing is so disgusting and gross. So even if Section 219 doesn't pass, is not included as part of the National Defense Authorization Act, at the end of the day, Israel has already infiltrated our military in other very slimy, slippery ways.
Yeah, and look, if any other country did it, it would obviously be super strange and would certainly merit a ton of attention. So for example, if we were going to merge our military technology and data with the Nigerians, everybody would go, really? We're gonna share all of our military technology for free with the Nigerians? Why? And the Nigerians have bought up a bunch of American companies and Nigerian defense contractors, brought them here, and they would like to merge with the American technology so they could just take it all back to Nigeria. We'd be like, what is this, an email scam? Like, do they give me the money now and I give them money now and then the Nigerian prince gives it to me later, right? Everybody would call BS on it immediately. Israel does it in spades and everybody's like, shh, 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 don't ever tell anyone that Israel's doing it. And it's perfectly normal, perfectly normal. It is not perfectly normal. It is betraying this country on behalf of another country. I don't care what country it is, what religion it has, what culture it has, I don't care. All I care is stop robbing us. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.